Hey y'all, it's Nancy for Whimsy Stamps. Thanks for joining me again today. As you can see on the screen, we're going to be making this sweet Hello Chickadee card using some simple ink blending and some die cutting, and we are just going to go ahead and jump right in. So I start out by stamping out the entire Hey Chickadee stamp set. I couldn't choose, I couldn't play favorites, had to have them all. And cherry blossoms have a very special place in my heart. So stamped them out, let them dry, blotted off any excess so it wouldn't smear, and then I just colored them up using my Arteza Everblends. And now for the die cutting. So just some pro tips, if you will. First thing I want to recommend, get yourself some snips. If you don't already have a pair of snips like this or something similar, let me encourage you to get some. They are a game changer. Now, even on the handle of my snips, it says to wear eye protection. So my next pro tip would be protect those eyes. So you can either snip down deep into your trash can like I typically do, or you can use a paper towel or a napkin, or even like a microfiber cloth that most of us have, things like that, and that will catch all those little bits. Because all those little bits of metal that hold your dies together can go shooting. They can shoot into your eyes, into your face, and they are metal, so they're sharp, and they have the potential, like if they're on the floor, you could step on them, etc. So you just want to be safe. You want to make sure that no one gets cut or hurt by those little bitty pieces. And you see that die on the top right, that birdhouse? Did you see how it had a flower in it? So my next tip is to make sure that you get all of the dies. You don't want to lose any, you don't want to waste any, because in manufacturing sometimes they'll have them inside each other just for space, being good stewards with their product and with their finances in terms of the production process. So you want to make sure you get them all. Next pro tip, as you can see me fussy cutting this excess off, make sure that you tape your pieces down so that they don't shift in the die cutting machine. Unfortunately, both of my birdhouses did because I was really chintzy with my tape. But just make sure that you tape them down securely and you'll be fine. A lot of people are concerned about coloring first and then die cutting afterwards because they're afraid of that shift in the machine. But I tell you, in my experience, as long as you use enough tape to secure it, it's not going to shift. And luckily, mine didn't shift too much that it messed up my image, so I didn't have to restamp. But in the meantime, I have die cut out my Hello word and shadow die, and you can see how big and fun that is. I love that it's wonky. And then I also die cut out my background panel with the sprinkles frame dies, and all of these are new releases either this month in March or last month in February. So very easy, very simple, and I am being converted into a die cutter. For many years I only bought select dies and would just fussy cut the rest. I'm not being 100% converted, but I tell you guys, for this set, I am so glad that I have these dies, and I'm sure it's that way for many sets. I just haven't been introduced to them yet, so I wanted to share this with you, and I am so glad that I had these, and it made the process easy. I'd still be fussy cutting. So let's get to the ink blending, because you can see that's where I'm at already. So taking this panel that I have die cut out with that sprinkles frame, and I love the little scallop borders, by the way, and the little sprinkly dots around the edges. But I'm using 3 shades of blue from my Pink Fresh Studio stash. I love these inks. They're my go-to inks. But I'm just doing down and dirty ink blending. You don't have to get fancy. You don't have to ink blend for 45 minutes because you saw me auditioning all my pieces. So now I know, at least generally, what this scene is going to look like. And I know that most of this blue panel, as dramatic and beautiful as it is, it's going to be covered up. And it's literally just going to be the background. So stress over the important things and don't stress so much over the little things. And I'd encourage you, don't stress at all, because it should be fun. But if you're going to stress over important things and not things like the background that you're only going to see a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong. You guys know I love to make some backgrounds. But again, I don't stress over those. I find them fun. And yeah, just know that you don't have to do perfection. You don't have to worry about perfection, because look at that panel. You can see that, the swirly marks from my brush. You can see that the colors aren't fully blended. But again, when it comes together, all those things are going to be hidden or camouflaged or just kind of out of sight, out of mind. Now this hello word die, guys, I die cut it out as you can see, and I love that the letters are individual, and I love that it's wonky and that they overlap, and I use 2 shades of yellow to get that gradient look, and they just glue down so easily. So back to this background panel, you can see that I just sprinkled with some water. I wanted some more texture and some more pattern back there. And here I have my Posca pen, and I'm doing some yellow sprinkles because the rule of 3s, right? We had the yellow chickadees, now we have the yellow word, and I've added some yellow splatters to the background, so we have the yellow in 3 places, and it marries them all together, and it marries the card together. So earlier I had kind of auditioned my pieces, and now I know where they're going to go on stage, quote unquote. And I have almost all of my pieces mounted up on some double-sided foam tape. Now I don't show you guys that process just because it's tedious, and as always I want to be mindful and respectful of your time. So placing everything down. Now, like on this birdhouse where it's attached to the tree, I don't have foam tape on that part because it would be too bulky. So I have where it touches the tree, there's glue, and the glue adheres to the tree, and the rest of it is on foam tape and adheres to the background. So anywhere that it's layered like that will just be glued down directly to the background piece. Now look at this hello. I love it. I love, like I said, it's whimsical. No pun intended, but it's just fun, and I love the way the yellow kind of pops off that blue background, and I had to use all 4 chickadees. You know I did, and I love them, and they pop beautifully off that blue background, as do those sweet cherry blossoms. I love this card. I love all of these stamps and dies, and guys, I'm being converted into a die person. I think you'll be seeing me use more and more dies. For a long time, I just wasn't a die person. I would use my money for other things, but I am being converted, and it made this process so easy, especially using those tips that I've shared with you in the beginning, guys. Let me know what you think. Are you a die cutting person? How do you use them? How would you use these? Let's have a conversation downstairs. And if I don't see you downstairs, I will definitely see you over on the Whimsy Stamps and Inspiration Facebook page, or Instagram, or Pinterest. But until then, guys, this is Nancy, again for Whimsy Stamps. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Mwah! I'm out.